I'm just watching top. Are you
To be
guys
honest,
looking at top?
I closed my broker. Let
Holy
me open it again and do something silly.
damn,
That's
top is at the top, huh?
That was the
Holy
one to
shit.
watch today.
How do you even trade this thing halting like that?
Danny, are you trading it?
I am trying to. I'm up decently on it. But I'm really frustrated. It has been a piece of crap, really. Let's see. It was the candle at 11:17. I got stopped out 3 times right before that went into the halt up.
Mm.
And then the one that broke out at 11:32, I was watching it and just like it started going up. I didn't really trust it and I just didn't get in. So I'm watching this resumption here. Let's see what happens. Should open in a minute, just over a minute now. Be nice if I can get something on it, but what I've been looking for is a false halt down and it just hasn't given one.
I'm pulling it up right now. Yeah. I don't know. Something like this is just so terrifying. How do you trade that? I think maybe after 10 o'clock, if you really just went all in, maybe. But like, what is your goal on this ticker in terms of like entries and?
I was gonna say make money. I mean, so we've been seeing a really big bid coming in and out all morning, and that's basically just what I'm watching for. At first I didn't trust it, but then it just continued in its initial push up right at 10. Every single halt, it was just a huge bid pushing it straight up. So I think that bid is still in here. We're opening in like 5 seconds, so I'm just using small size, but we'll see if I can get anything. So open straight up, straight to the halt down, big halt down. That is not a false halt.
No. No, yeah, it's moving again.
I'm in.
Oh,
Come on, get me out.
there we go.
Sick.
Wow, that was probably a good trade, huh?
That was a good trade. I only took 200 shares because like I'm not trying to ruin my day. But so I'm still holding 68. I got in at 1980. I got in at 1980. I'm still holding as long as it holds like 20, I guess. And now it's pushing up. Would love to see it break 22 and hold 22. It's chopping around, but like this type of stuff, I would really love to get stopped out rather than just take arbitrary profit, because all right, I guess I'm getting out there.
Yeah,
all right.
Now it's...
Yeah, that is so frustrating though. I went from up 680 on it to holding like I might buy this again.
Those last few shares, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I was up like another 200 or so on those last couple shares that just disappeared, but whatever.
I mean, it popped up like 12% after you entered, or 15, 16. I'm not totally sure when that top came in. And then, yeah, it's very volatile.
Did you get a good sell on like that 130 share position?
Yeah, so I got in, so I actually recorded that. But I got in at 1980. I sold some at 2058, some at 2291, 2291, and then the last at 1919.
Damn.
2291. Yeah, I mean, that's
pretty good.
Pretty solid exit as far as you can do.
How's the recording yourself going? Like, do you ever trip over yourself recording, or you just kind of have it going the whole time in the background and then you cut out the highlight reel?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I wouldn't say that it messes me up at all. I always love to have I always love to nail a good trade when I'm recording, you know, but I think I'm pretty good with trading the actual trade and not trying to like hit a banger, you know.
Yeah.
Because I think that definitely can be dangerous and an issue. If someone isn't used to recording, like I've been doing mentor sessions with Warrior for actually almost 2 years now. And so I'm pretty used to live streaming and even live trading in front of an audience at this point. But it definitely was not normal or comfortable at first. But I really like to record my trades, sometimes to learn from them if I can. Otherwise, just to share for fun.
Yeah.
Trying to build my social media a little bit. So
Yeah, it's working well. It's growing nicely.
yeah, it's been fun. It's been a fun thing to do, you know. I'm always looking for something to be doing. So
Yeah, I was kind of nervous because with me, I was recording myself, but then over time started like stopping and starting the recording every time I was like before and after a trade. And I started feeling like I was recording myself now because I started publishing those videos. I was like doing it more for other people as opposed to for myself, which is why I started. So then I stopped doing it, at least temporarily for now, because I'm like, I'm
yeah,
tripping over myself because like I'm not getting into
yeah.
that trade because I'm clicking the start button. And then I was like,
I missed a trade. One of the resumptions just a few minutes ago, the resumption at 11:43. I missed that resumption because I was typing into the chat the imbalance that DOS was telling me. I was like, are you kidding me? Because it did basically exactly what my imbalance was telling me it was going to do. It said that there were like 80,000 shares worth of matched pair at 19 with a small imbalance to the sell side, which basically tells me that it's going to resume at 19. It might give a little bit of a dip, and then I would assume it would keep going, and that's exactly what it did. I just got kind of mixed up with the resumption time and typing, and I missed it. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. But that last trade
I know
helped
that.
manage some FOMO on it. So
I guess we always miss trades sometimes because of ourselves, like just
yeah,
doing something silly.
yeah. I mean, you're never gonna hit every trade, and internalizing that I think is a really good thing, because like every day in the market, there's probably a penny stock right now that's up 1,000% on the day. Well, maybe not. There's probably a penny stock that's up 100 or 200% on the day that everyone just missed. Like you're never going to hit every single trade that there is to hit. So
Yeah, you can't beat yourself up. Yeah, I guess for me, it's like I don't care if I turn on my computer the next day and I see a ticker that just went absolutely crazy in power hour. Like that doesn't give me any FOMO. But like if I'm trying to click the record button and I know I should be entering instead and I miss the trade because of that, or at least I fumble a bit, I think that sometimes bothers me.
That shit makes me mad too. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like I don't have that many opportunity throughout the day because I'm only trading the SPY. So I really only get like 2-3 chances. So if I miss one, it's like a really big deal.
yeah, on those slower time frame type moves, yeah, you definitely don't get as many chances. Like top has been up and down all day since it started moving. You've had plenty of chances, but
Yeah.
large caps and overall market, you really don't have that much leeway.
It looks like it's going to be a 10-minute hold actually. Or
Yeah, they have been kind of all day, which is super annoying. I hate 10-minute long holds.
yeah. All right.
Like, what is the purpose of a 10-minute halt? Like, why?
It's like, I
give you
mean,
that extra anticipation.
legitimately, the reason is to slow volatility. But
And it makes it worse.
in reality, it's just annoying. Yeah.
Or it makes it way worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Gives
That's
more
so funny.
more time for the imbalance to get bigger.
Yep.
I mean, they don't do it pre-market, and I feel like pre-market, you never
Yeah.
have these issues. Like,
Yeah, 'cause
Seriously,
people
yeah.
are just exchanging shares like normal.
yeah. These halts create so much anxiety about entries and exits that it definitely does more harm than good for sure. it sounds good on paper, like, oh yeah, let's hold to stock, let people read the news, gather their thoughts. But in practice, it does the exact
Right.
opposite.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, we could go into this. I don't know if we should, but it's just another form of government trying to do what they think is best for the people, which in reality is like the opposite.
Yeah, that's typically the theme, huh?
I wonder if it's like a market maker thing too, like if they get some kind of benefit out of it.
Yeah, I don't know. With Top, it's been really interesting today. Like there is I feel like it's just two really rich people. Like one of them has vendetta against the other one, and they're just trying to squeeze them because it was like a 50K share bid, and it even stacked up to 100. Yeah, 100,000 shares. Like who is buying $1 million worth of Top as it's going from 8 to 15? That was where that bid was coming in. Like who thinks that is a good idea?
Somebody with 20 million.
Yeah,
Definitely not
exactly.
me with my IRA.
Yeah.
Little baby IRA
At
account.
one point I typed into chat, I was like, I'm done with this. I'm not interested in being jerked around by rich people.
Seriously,
But
the float lockers.
I'm interested to potentially see if I can get one more little trade out of it. It's showing a bit of a gap down, but I mean, it's still up 185% on the day. I'm guessing I could get a little bounce at some point, so I'm just sort of just watching it. But I don't need to. I'm sitting on a pretty nice day.
Yeah, well, I'll just keep my screen sharing here just so I don't miss it in case it pops up in 2 minutes, unless you wanted to share it, but I don't want to give you any more recording stress.
No, it's fine. I can share in a minute. Let me get some water. I don't know if I'm going to take a trade or not because it's looking like a pretty solid gap down, but we'll see.
So
Got the
it looks
surfboard
like,
right there too.
yeah, so it looks like Toby might not make it today. I guess I actually haven't talked to him, and I know he was on vacation, so I just don't know what his situation is, but worst case will be us three. And since we missed you last week, Colby, it'll be great to hear what you've been up to.
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear more about what we talked to before the pod.
Yeah, it's really cool after we talk about tops or whatever.
So here we are. We got my DOS level 2 up here. Top should be opening in just about 1 minute. It halted down here at 1919, which is where you can see I got my last 68 shares out, which is good at least, because if I hadn't, then it would be a $2 loss on those, another $2 loss. But it's looking like we're going to open another $2 down at like 1717 in 30 seconds. DOS is showing me we've got 29,000 shares matched up to exchange immediately on resumption at 1731 now, with a very small imbalance to the buy side. So we'll see what happens. I only have 168 shares loaded up to potentially take a trade with now. So I want to see. I was actually waiting to see if it wanted to give me a little bit more of a dip.
Yeah, a little sell off and then momentum shifts, but this one kind of popped right back up.
Yeah. So you can't really take a trade on that because it's not bullish until it's over like 22 at this point. But if it dips, I can maybe take a trade on a dip. Halt level down is 15. Now it's 1611. But it just dipped to 1660 and bounced off of that immediately. So maybe I'll put an order out there at like 1675 and see if it wants to get me in and out real quick. But kind of looks like it's not wanting to do that. This is interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, and that would have been a nice fill.
Yeah, it would have been amazing, Phil. It did exactly what you were discussing here, that little extra dip down.
Well, now halt level's at 1995 to the upside, and I'm gonna just see if it holds up. Maybe above 1850 or at least 18. And it is holding right now, yeah. So I might look to get in. See if 1850-ish holds there. I'm gonna see if I can get in on the bid. Well, maybe not. Because it kind of looks, well, it seems like 1850 is holding up relatively well. You know, all things considered.
Yeah, volume's fading a little bit. Could be a dead cat, man. Who knows? Maybe we'll see this one over 40 today. It's just
Right.
so weird, you know, especially today where I felt like we had this super awkward grinder. I think it was
Yeah. CFRX.
CFRX. I just could not get myself to trade it.
That thing
And
was a piece of crap. I will tell you what.
yeah,
I did trade it. I was red on it, not very big, like 200 at one point before I finally got myself green, almost 200 on it. But like, that's not worth trading for me.
Yeah, I felt the same. I was like, I'm just not going to trade this ticker. It just, everything about it felt wrong. And then at the market open,
Yeah.
or at least around 10 o'clock, it just started doing back-to-back flushes, which I felt like it was going to happen the whole time. It was a bit painful though, watching this thing just awkwardly walk away or grind away for like 2 hours straight up, you know, but
on top.
no, CFRX just grind away like that. But
Oh,
did I
yeah.
just see top?
Well, that was the thing. It was like, it had no real momentum to the upside. Like it was moving up, but there was no momentum to it.
Yeah. Yeah, you
And
definitely
then-
didn't want to buy breakouts. If you were like kind of accumulating it near support, but that usually doesn't ever work on these momentum stocks. You just kind of get crushed at one point if you do that. So
Yeah, I don't accumulate support on a low float momentum stock, but I will buy quickly. I will take a trade off of support. I'm not like averaging into support.
yeah.
But I will use like a support level or EMA or like a bottoming tail as a level that I'll take a trade off of. But if it doesn't work, I'm definitely not like averaging into it or trying to make it work. I'm just gonna accept that it didn't work.
Yeah, exactly. It has to be quick. Sizing into these puppies that are just kind of trending down is a recipe for disaster.
Definitely, yeah. On like a large cap stock or something that like legitimately has value, buying support is not a bad idea.
That's the big thing. That's the big thing.
But like this one here, it's up 170%. The last time that it was trading at $18 was back here in October, 6 months ago. So like good luck investing in this if you end up holding it or averaging in to support and then it breaks down on you. And then this is not something that you want to become an investor on.
No. You want to ride that trend while it's there, and then when it's not, then you jump off the ship.
Yeah, exactly.
Got another classic shirt on here. Leave me alone. Perfect day trading shirt.
With
my Negroni. No. Yes.
Which is funny because I like basically don't drink. Like I'm not sober or anything. I just don't really enjoy it, or it just doesn't really fit my lifestyle very much with like the gym and waking up early and you know all of that. But every now and then I do like a Negroni. If I'm gonna have a drink, it's likely that it might be a Negroni.
Do you know what a Belvedere is? It's like a Negroni with instead of gin, it's I think it's like a whiskey or something like that. But I do find this quite nice. But yeah, I agree. I've been drinking a lot less than I used to. I agree. It puts you back too much. It's too many steps back, and it makes waking up early not really the thing.
When I was 20, 21, 22, 23, you know, no problem. You could
Yeah.
get hit by a train at 21 and be okay the next day.
Yeah.
Now, not so much.
Did you guys ever hear this thing called weed?
I think I've heard of it.
A
It's pretty popular in California, right?
little bit, maybe in San Francisco too. Who would have, you know?
Yeah, people in my area seem to really like it in my close vicinity.
How
No,
is it
yeah,
in your
I love it.
your small town, your steel mill?
I have a medical marijuana like patient card, so I just go to a dispensary and I get it. It's awesome.
Oh, so that's
Um,
why you started trading these longer time frames.
I'm fucking I want to fall asleep while I'm in the trade. That's why.
Funny. Yeah, over here you can just order it like pizza
Yep.
off of an app. Pretty
Yeah, it's
nuts.
so much. I love it because it's so much. There's no hangover and all that, you know.
Mhm.
So I can, and it's a great way to like it's a great way to think about stuff that you never would originally think of. You know, like
Yeah.
for drugs for me are like so important for understanding problems in your life because you get to see them from a different lens. You know,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it really has a lot of value.
There's
Obviously,
definitely
you
some
can abuse
validity to
everything,
that, I would say. I mean, there's a lot of interesting research coming out on psychedelics, and not even like coming out, like they've been coming out the last 20, 30 years, but now it's becoming more prevalent. Studies on like ketamine, low doses of LSD, and mushrooms, not like mushrooms, but psilocybin in controlled settings where they're showing serious effectiveness against PTSD and anxiety and depression, and like long lasting too.
Yeah,
Mm,
it's cool. I'm excited to see what that's gonna perform
Very
into
interesting.
someday.
Yeah, you
microdose
can
is
just
getting quite popular.
there's shops here you can just go buy shrooms.
Yeah, I actually did this. I did that in DC. I went to,
Really?
yeah, like I actually never really did shrooms as like a young kid. The only thing I really did was like smoke weed and drink. But
And party.
yeah, pretty much. But I never did like anything worse than that. But then we went to DC and they had legal mushrooms and we were like, let's just buy mushrooms. So
Yeah.
we went and just like it was the sketchiest, weirdest thing ever. You basically just like
It
do an
was.
online order on your phone, and
Yeah.
as you pull up to the place, they like know you're coming at a certain time, I guess, or whatever, because you mark
Yeah.
it down, and then they'll call you and be like, "Oh, you know, we don't have an actual store, like a storefront, so you're just gonna have to meet me like on the sidewalk." So I
Yeah.
like pull up, and
That's
there's this
really
girl in like a black coat. And she just is like, Colby? And I'm like, yep. And she just like hands me the mushrooms and I handed her like $300 and that was that.
Oh no,
Well,
that
I
sounds.
am I've
But it's
got a
legal
friend
because
here.
in DC they have all these weird little
Oh
loopholes,
yeah.
like you're not allowed to have a storefront. You have to sell it like as a souvenir. So you can't sell
Yeah,
mushrooms, but I'll sell you a sticker for for a
exactly.
penny, and then you get mushrooms for you're buying a sticker for $300, but the mushrooms are like your free gift
So
or
you're
something
saying we
like
should get in
that.
the sticker business?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Microdose
that's
is
how they
getting quite
used to
popular.
have to do it with weed too. I grew up in the DC area, so I have like most of my friends, or a lot of friends still are over there. And that's what they were telling me. I was like, that's crazy. Why? Like, I guess
Mhm.
legally it makes sense that they are just finding a way kind of around it, but like, why not just
I know
sell?
it's so dumb. It's just
Yeah,
such
it's
a
stupid, but whatever.
at least you can get it. That's cool.
I don't know if you guys saw, but I did take that false halt down as well.
Yeah,
I
that was
didn't
a
even
really
see
good
it.
one, huh? That was a perfect
Yeah.
one.
My order right there, just 268 shares, which actually I think was bigger than my yeah, I only took 200 on the last one. So again, like small size, I'm not trying to hit a home run on this, but it just has a lot of range, a lot of volatility. And I actually was a little bit sketched out on that one. I had my position and I think I did try to sell it. And then I canceled my order as the stack on the ask looked really weak. So I canceled it and then I got a dollar. I got a dollar out of that on 268 shares. So this was that trade right there. This was my entry. I love seeing these entries here at the bottom of the candle, and then you just sell on the pop. And like in this area, I wouldn't expect that to go straight to high of day, but like a false halt down here, that I might expect to go to high of day if it rejects the false halt down, or if it rejects the halt down. And then that is what happened back here. So this was actually like complete nonsense, but I saw that big bid come in here, and I didn't trust it at that point because it had just dropped a full $1. So I was like, if there's a big bid in here, it's definitely not real, because it just let the stock drop a full $1.
Yeah.
But then it started doing this, and I saw the bid again, and
The volumes are really telling on TOP, because it starts off slow, but then it makes it over a VWAP, and then the volume keeps trending higher actually really nicely until after around like 10:30 or so. But that actually makes sense. Most traders kind of wrap up around 10:30, 11, at least, pre-market, market open traders. But good
What's
trades
fun-
on it. Really nice work.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think that I can get rid of my FOMO there on that now.
What do you do like when you're not trading? I don't know if I've ever asked you, like, what do you do when you're not trading? I know you go to the gym and stuff, but like is there because to trade till like 12:30,
Mhm.
that's like a later day for you, or
It's pretty typical, but I do try to be done earlier than that. It's just because this is going. Usually we see stuff slow down quite a bit around 11:30 until probably like 1:30. So I usually try to get out of the market during that time and go to the gym, but I don't always. And when I don't, I usually end up kind of frustrated with myself, because then things start moving again around like 1:30 or so Eastern, and then I feel kind of stuck here to like keep trading stuff because things are starting to move again.
yeah.
So like I'll go to the gym. I do work other jobs as well. I do, the other stuff for Warrior. But then I also work with my dad. We do supply chain and logistics consulting and software sales. We're working on a project right now where this company is shipping breakfast goods in from Europe, and they have 3 distribution centers on the East Coast. They want to close 2 of them and place 1 on the West Coast so that they can save money. And, and so our job is to look at all of the volumes of stuff coming in from here and there, where are all their customers, and basically tell them where they should put those distribution centers. With our software, we analyze and do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's cool too. So that's like my work stuff. Aside from that, I play guitar, I play chess, I take photos of stuff, play a little bit of video games, not too much. That's mostly it. I'm just trying to stay
Now we
busy.
know. We got the inside scoop.
Yeah.
What he's up to. No, it's good to. I was just curious because I think my girlfriend actually asked me, because she was asking like what everyone's doing on the podcast, and I was like, actually about Danny, I actually don't know. I do remember we did talk about something with your dad, but I didn't have a tangible thing to tell her. I was like, I think something with his dad. Like, but that's why I asked you, because there's also obviously the question my girlfriend asked, but then the second part is, watching the market all day long, and like, is it easy to trip over yourself? Do you have to leave sometimes? And that kind of second part of everyone, like every trader has like that second life, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder about what some of the other guys in the room do. Like there's 6 of us that went to visit Ross at their office in October. So we like became friends and we're in touch and all of that. And like, I wonder what they do. I don't know what their lives are outside of trading. Just like stuff. I usually find though that traders, tend to have like a lot of hobbies and just stuff that they do.
Yeah. You
Like
really
I loved shooting arrows when I was a kid. We had a second house on the eastern shore of Maryland, like pretty rural, and we had a big backyard that was like on the water on a cove. And so you could just go out in the backyard and just shoot arrows at like a bale. And I really liked that. So just a couple of months ago, I bought a bow again, which is the first bow that I personally have owned, just a recurve bow and just kind of like a starter. But there's a target range, like I live on a hill, it's like right next to me. So that's cool. There's a pool right next to it, so sometimes I swim there too.
nice.
I just try to stay busy,
Yeah.
do stuff.
Yeah, especially like outdoor activities, or else you go crazy. I
Yeah.
think I can't start anything else that has like anything to do with a screen.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, for
any
sure.
hobby, any hobby I pick, I'm like nature hobbies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get stuck in front of a screen a lot sometimes, every now and
Yeah.
then.
Me too.
I
I can
try
see it with
not
my
to.
eyes. I feel like I got these like
Mhm.
blackness around my eyes. I gotta get rid of, because my second job is basically coding. So I spend a lot of time coding, and you know that it's just like you really get into these like you just stare at your screen for like 4 or 5 hours, which
You get into a coding hole
yeah,
and you're
which
listening to
is like
like the crunchiest electronic music just blasting in your headphones for hours.
yeah, sometimes some synth wave. But it's like
Yeah,
how do you go from like trading,
sure.
looking at a screen, to like coding? It's a bit much. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's not the best combination. I probably
Do
wouldn't
you
recommend it.
do you work for a company or anything, or do you do entirely freelance stuff?
I my brother and I had a software company, and we're kind of closing it down, or we've stopped a lot of the stuff that we do. And TradeJournal was kind of my hobby project that I was just building on the side. So that's pretty much what I'm coding. It's so it's not freelance, or it's not another company. It's just kind of like a free trading tool that I first used for myself, and then I made it available for other people.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I spend time coding on. Sometimes I dive into other people's projects, or sometimes like with Chat GPT, for example, there's so many interesting open source repositories popping up. So then I'll spend like my
Yeah.
mornings sometimes just trying them out, seeing how they work. So stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
That's
a lot
cool.
of random stuff. Yeah.
There's so much potential out there right now.
It's crazy. It's the world's moving so fast in that industry. It's like if you miss a week, so much has happened. Like some repositories will
Yeah.
be brand new, and then they'll get like 100,000 stars within like 2-3 weeks, which is insane. I've never seen that in my life. So it's just like things are evolving so quickly in this industry.
Did we talk at any point in the last few weeks about like AI and the petition or the letter that like Elon Musk and a couple of the guys
Yeah, we
basically
talked.
called through that?
I think we talked about that 2 pods ago.
I think we did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. One really good podcast to check out is the All In podcast. I know Colby's watched it or watches it just
Yeah.
because we talked about it. But I don't know if you've checked it out.
I haven't. I've been trying to listen to some audiobooks lately that I've been meaning to get to for a long time. Here's the thing. I have like 6 audiobooks that I have started and gotten through like an hour or 2 of on Audible and then just stopped. I get kind of bored quickly.
Yeah.
Like I was ranting to my girlfriend last night about this. She was doing her best to support me and understand what I was ranting about, but I get really annoyed at a book when it is telling me over and over what I'm going to learn or find in the upcoming chapters. I'm like, this is unnecessary, redundant. It's a waste of my time. Just like cut that section of the book out and just get me to the part where you're actually telling me the things. Like, don't tell me the things that I'm going to, just tell me.
Yeah. I'm a bit over a lot of those like self-help topic books. I think Quit was a really good one I read, and I actually do recommend that to a lot of people, by Annie Duke, that I talked about a few times. But what I really like, my favorite audiobooks are their biographies. So like I'm reading David Goggins. Yo, this guy is crazy. He really is crazy. You guys have to check out his audiobook. Really good. I was reading, I mean, from David Goggins to John D. Rockefeller. You know, I try to read and they're so interesting because I mean, you're kind of like watching a movie, and you get so many life lessons out of it too. You start connecting a lot of dots. You're like, oh, that's that company, or like that's that thing, and oh, that's how that all ties together. So biographies to me I can almost not put them down. They're my favorite kind of books.
I've been doing that a lot too, with like history shit, learning about like Carnegie, Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, JP Morgan. Dude, that stuff is so interesting.
Yeah,
like JP Morgan is like the reason why General Electric exists, because he found Edison and then funded Edison to like light New York. So Edison like lit up New York, and then Westinghouse was funding Tesla, and Tesla was it was like Tesla versus Edison, and they were like fighting each other. And then JP Morgan eventually, you know, won that battle. But then JP Morgan bought out Carnegie US Steel. Like it was Carnegie Steel, and then JP Morgan bought it for $480 million, which is, I think that's like $400 to $500 billion today.
Yeah.
And he bought it out and then turned it into US Steel, and then, you know, the rest is history.
So I'm listening to Think and Grow Rich right now, which talks a lot about Carnegie and Edison and those types of guys, because it was written in like the 30s, I think.
That's an old one.
I haven't listened to it before, but I've heard people recommend it over and over and over for years. So I finally figured I would see what it was all about.
I hope you finish it.
I know, I do too. I don't know if I will. Honestly, odds are bad. Odds are bad that I will.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm really curious to hear what some of Colby's learnings are and kind of discoveries are this week, because last week you took a little bit off, and you want to share a bit about that?
So last week I just had like 2 decent red days, and I was just pissed off with the market. And and I've applied to SMB Capital, which is a prop firm. So if anyone doesn't know what a prop firm is, the whole point of a prop firm is you have like a pool of money and you trade for these people, and they try to teach you how to trade. And SMB Capital has an awesome YouTube channel. Like they have so much content they give out for free that's just like really high level content. And I always wanted to work for them, because I'm like, if I had someone that was able to just coach me a little bit, I think that'd be super helpful. So I reached out to this guy that I talked to on Twitter, Journe, who makes videos for SMB. And I DM'd him, and I was like, because he likes my tweets a lot, and I like tweeted him, and we'll have discussions or whatever.
That's cool.
And I was like, hey, you should like, if you could give me a recommendation to SMB, that would be awesome. Because I mean, I'm sure anyone that's like me, I'm a dime a dozen person. Like there's no way I'm gonna just like give them my Harvard fucking business school MBA and all this shit, and they're gonna be like super excited. No, I'm a degen idiot retail trader. Like the only thing that I have really is that I'm totally willing to like roll back everything I know and learn fresh. Like I will do that. Like I'm a coachable person, and that's really
what they're looking for.
Exactly. Like they want to coach you, and I'm totally coachable. So if that's one thing that I think I have, that's what I'd want. Anyways, he gives me a recommendation, and then their head recruiter emailed me, and he was like, can you make me a playbook? That was all he said. And I was like, holy shit. I don't know if I can make a playbook. So I tried, and I wrote like a 20-page document about my favorite strategy, like all the parameters to get in, all the parameters to get out, when you take it, when the market sentiment is this way or that way, and different ways to manage the trade, and all this kind of shit. And as I was writing that, when I finished it, I was like, holy shit, this strategy is legit the best one I know for sure. And I do it the least. And I was like, that's so weird. So then Friday came, because that was on last Thursday. And then Friday came, and I was looking at the market, and all I could see was that strategy that I outlined the day before. Because normally in the market, I'll do a whole bunch of random shit. I'll be like, oh, here's the opening range. We're going to try to break out of the opening range. I'll try to take that, you know, or, oh, here's a bear flag, but the market is bullish a little bit, but so I'm kind of fighting the trend. You know, I'm just like kind of doing shit everywhere. And then on Friday, I was like, you know what? Why don't I just wait to see if that strategy that I outlined shows up today, and I'll take it. And I just was waiting all day, and it was super simple. I just have a channel drawn, and I was waiting for it to get to the top end of the channel because that's where you're more likely for the move to work. It was a descending channel, so the market's going down. Obviously, when you get to the top of a descending channel, that's a good place to go short because it's at the top of the channel. It might revert back to the mean or the bottom of the channel. And I took it, set my stop, set my target, went and got lunch, and I came back and I made $50 without even watching the market at all. I had zero emotional toll
That's
from
awesome.
it. Like, it was super simple. There was like literally like 3 parameters of the trade, and it was just really cool. And I was like, wow, what the fuck have I been doing for the last 2 years? You know,
Isn't
not
that
writing
eye-opening?
playbooks. Yeah, and like the coolest thing ever is that I would have never, even if SMB Capital doesn't give a shit about anything I do, which is totally most likely going to happen, but I'm going to definitely be like, thank you so much for telling me to write a playbook, because you
Yeah.
just telling me to do that changed a lot of the way I'm looking at the market right now. And even this
Yeah.
week, I've only taken 2 trades total so far this whole week. And the first one was a winner, second was a loser. But my whole thing right now is I always say this, and I'm probably going to say it for fucking ever, but my number one thing I need to just let go of, like, I'm not trying to make money at all. I'm trying to make a strategy. I'm trying to make a playbook, because the cool
Yeah.
thing about that idea is, like, if you think about the market in terms of like a football game, like if you're a quarterback, it is your job to identify the defense, their positioning, you know, identify what is the defense going to do. Are they going to do a cover 3, cover 2, whatever? And then you adjust your play depending on what the defense is doing. So in the stock market, we should do the same thing, right? We should have multiple strategies, multiple plays in our playbook that we can tailor to the defense, which is the market. So it's like, my whole goal right now is to come up with like anywhere from 1 to 5 strategies that I really, really like. And I have different types of times where those strategies will work well and when they won't work. So that, you know, like today I took that same 30-minute channel, like a version of that strategy, and it didn't work. And it was this is an opportunity for me to go back into my playbook that was that 20-page document and write, here's an example of why this didn't work, and try to go over all of the parameters of, you know, what happened and what went wrong. So
I think that's an awesome idea. It makes me think of back in the fall, Ross had me and a couple of the other like verified profitable guys. He asked if we wanted to put together like a graduated student type course, like what are the setups and trades that we take, and how do we play them, and where do you get in, where do you get out, what kind of market do you take them in, what is your edge on them, all of this kind of stuff. And I thought the same. I think if you're struggling or if you're doing well, whenever, it can be hugely valuable to write out like everything you know and write out your strategy. Because I think that after some time in the market, like, you might be surprised at how much you have to write about. Like, you have a good amount of knowledge. So like if you're having a hard time in the market, I think it can be especially valuable, just like you said, to realize that there's this type of trade or setup that you really should be focusing on more, or how to identify it more, or even just to boost your confidence. Like, I know what I'm talking about. I know how to trade this. Maybe this setup isn't happening right now or all the time, but then I think what you just said about how you should have like 3 to 5 setups or strategies that every now and then strategy B pops up. In this market, strategy D is popping up. So like, there shouldn't ideally be downtime in the market where you're just making no money, which is fine. If that does happen, it's better to make no money than lose money. But that's an awesome idea.
The thing that I found that I'm finding out throughout this week is that so that's like a necessity, right? You need to have a playbook, you need to have strategies, you need to have some way to make money in the market. But on top of that, if you have a playbook, it helps with your discipline so much more, because let's say in your head, let's say before I made that playbook, let's say I have like maybe 6 to 10 strategies that are all just in my head, right? All intuition, feel based type thing. If I lose on one strategy, I'll have, let's say my bias for today is I think we're going to go long, right? My first strategy is the opening range breakout. I lose on that. Well, then I'll just jump into the next one that's like, oh, well, this is a bear flag, but we're on an intraday time frame, so I'll short this. Well, that's a terrible idea. If you have your 5 playbook strategies defined, you wait for them to show up. You're not trying to look for something. It's like you'll see the parameter showing up, and then boom, it's like, okay, well, what the hell else am I sitting here waiting for? It helps you with discipline just as much as having all those defined strategies, you know? And like your FOMO also goes away, because if you don't see the setup and you know all of the parameters of that setup and it's just not showing up, why the hell are you trading it? You know?
Yeah.
It's so easy to just be like, it's not here, walk away 100%. I know it's not here today. Just leave. There's no point in trying to pull money out of a market when you don't have a strategy for that. So
I try to think about that all the time, because I definitely still overtrade more than I need to. Like 2 of my best trades today were those 2 false halt downs on top that I just caught. And I know that those are some of my best trades. That's actually one of my main things that I look for, that very much more often than not, when I think something is going to false halt down and I take it, they work out for me. So I know that I have an edge on it, because if I were to if I had tagged every trade that I took that I thought was a false halt down, I'm guaranteed would be very profitable on that. I don't know my stats on it, but like 8 or 9 times out of 10. And I was thinking a lot, because especially yesterday and Tuesday, I overtraded. Yesterday, I went from up like 600 on the day, back down to like 100, and then back to 500. And then I finished the day at like 350, which is fine, whatever. Tuesday, I was up 700. I finished the day at like 500 or 600. I don't know. But like I've been giving money back off the top more than I feel like I should be lately. And I was thinking about Ross's video and how he's talking about, you know, you have 200 trading days of the year. Any one day doesn't really matter that much, but there's probably 10% of those days that are going to be your big money-making days of the year. You can't get bent out of shape about some whatever arbitrary small amount of profit that you're up or down on any other given day, if it's not like one of your big contributing days. So I try to think about that. And I'm just trying to be like as conscious as possible of every trade I'm taking and why. And like, is it worth me staying here to catch 5 to 10 cents on a move when the stock was giving $1 or $3 or $5 moves earlier? And I'm kind of just sitting here waiting for volume to come back in and just basically wasting my time. I think that that's a distinguishing factor between like a beginning trader, an intermediate, and more advanced. Is a beginning trader probably really wants to chase those 2 cents of profit, whereas a more advanced trader at this point, I'm like, I don't care about 2 cents. I'm looking for 20 or 50 cents or $1 out of my trades per share.
Yeah, that kind of adds into the playbook thing as well, because if you have every trade you take has a defined strategy, defined parameters, and then you know all of those. Well, if you see the one trade where you're out on that 10% of the year, there's maybe 25 total days of the entire year that are going to be extremely good. And if you see all those parameters are like extremely pointing in that direction, that's when you go exponential bet sizing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's hard for you to do that whenever all of those parameters are just inside of your head, you know? When they're written down, you know, it's so much easier to know.
It's funny you bring that up too, because I haven't been thinking so much about bet sizing this week because it's been really slow. Honestly, after last Monday, I feel like the market really cooled off. There's been very little momentum. I had a strong day on Monday this week, but we haven't even had good opportunities in the last week and a half or so for me to think about oversizing or sizing up on my best trades and that kind of thing. I was thinking about it on top today, but like I'm definitely not going to be sizing up into those extensions. The only trades that I could potentially size up on are those false halt downs because I know that I have edge on them.
Yeah.
But even still, I really didn't today. I took really small size on those just because of the potential risk. Like I know that every now and then that false halt down pops up 10, 20 cents and then gets slammed back down and then it opens $2 or $3 lower.
Yeah.
So today, especially, I just didn't feel like I could take the risk. This is the first move we've seen since like 2 weeks ago, I think. Maybe it'll spark some more momentum. We'll see.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so if you listen to that, make a playbook. I've been telling all of my friends, like Nate has been having a hard time too trading. Honestly, I don't know anyone besides like Danny and Toby that aren't having a hard time trading.
You guys
But,
are in good flow mode right now.
Yeah,
I'm
seriously.
having a really good time trading actually this month. It has not been easy at all, but I'll share something tomorrow, hopefully, that should be pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, but like my one buddy, he's having a hard time, and I was like, make a playbook because it's going to open your eyes so much. And I think that every beginner, intermediate, advanced, whatever level, like everyone should have a playbook of some sort, you know. And it's very simple. It's just like, you know, what is the fundamentals? What is the technical analysis? What's the strategy? What is the trade? Review the trade. How do you manage the trade? You know, it's not complicated. It's just things that everyone thinks in their head, but no one really has the time to write it down. I mean, everyone has the time, but it's like, if you want to be the 1%, I know this is such a dumb cliche quote, but if you want to be the 1%, you have to do what 99% of people are not going to do. And if most people are too lazy to do that, that's probably one of those things that you could do to put yourself just a little bit ahead.
Yeah, like most people in the market fail. So to think about what they're doing and what you can do differently, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super important to exactly do that playbook. I also made a like a simple course on Skillshare on day trading, basically going over my, after I completed my 25K challenge. Actually, I didn't complete it because I wanted to grow an account basically from, I don't know, it was like 5,000 or so to 25K. And on the way, I was getting more and more consistently profitable. But the only thing that was holding me back was obviously the pattern day trader rule. So I said, screw it. Like halfway through, I just switched over to unlimited account. But then I basically, a couple months later, put everything into a kind of game plan. Like what are my strategies and stuff. And I think that really helped me to kind of have exponential growth from there on. I pretty much had for like 10 or 12 weeks, months straight, I had more profit than the previous month. Every month I just sized a little bit more.
That's awesome.
That was really good. And I might have to do like a second playbook. I was actually working on one for my swing trading, which it helped me a lot, but I'm still tripping over myself with my swing trading, my day trading. So I'm not there yet, but
it's hard to manage.
So
especially because like those are really not at all the same type of trading.
They're so different mentally, everything.
Yeah.
Entries, exits, like one, you want to be kind of accumulating on like very low entries, and the other one you want to be kind of quickly buying high. It's like,
yeah,
so
exactly.
But yeah, I might have to do a new playbook for my day trading, or just an updated playbook. I think that's probably a really good idea.
I remember whenever you had your live streams, you used to always pull up your thing that was like over 1 million flow, below 5 or whatever. You had that checklist of like 5 or 6 things that you're to even get into your scanner. That's like where you need those 5
this is
parameters.
what we're looking for. Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. And that was me and Nate were just talking about that the other day. We were like, that's crazy that was so long ago.
It was long. That was before COVID, the streaming.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then like a year and a half into COVID. But yeah, I mean, you really need to set your mind right, like every single day. And there's actually something I'll share with you guys that I've been doing. Share the main screen, I guess, and then Where is it? Here
My
it
boy
is. So
Lance.
here's an example. Yeah, I was watching his video on the trait. It's really good.
Colby, what are you gonna do if you get to meet Lance?
I'll literally take my clothes off and just run in a circle.
I don't know about that. You might get kicked out.
That would be the best introduction ever.
I'm gonna give him a
Do that
big
when you
hug
get
and just
home.
whisper in his ear, "I love you."
Oh,
Marry me.
No, seriously. I'll sign a
But-
prenup, bro. I don't care.
It's
too much.
what I've been doing to put myself in this kind of good mental state. I don't have this checklist because I think that's so deeply ingrained in my head. But what I try to do is be more present in every specific moment. So I'll do like a pre-market prep, and I'll just say like I'll talk about what the indexes are up to at the top gainers, then my running P&L and state of mind. And then I'll just do that again. And then a kill switch, oh, right now it's neutral. I just need to be patient. Nothing's popping up. And I just kind of do that every section of the time period. So pre-market, market open, late morning, just to kind of take a snapshot of where I am mentally and where the market is mentally and what the expected value is going forward from here. Because what I'm struggling by far the most with is exactly what you said earlier, Danny, is kind of knowing when to stop. You're either giving back profits, you're leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
And that is just one thing I have yet to really figure out. But I'll tell you what, really taking a snapshot of myself in the market this is basically like almost every hour, let's just say, has really helped me to just be a little bit more mindful of many situations, obviously the market and myself. And I think that's really important because there's like little things, you have something else you need to do today. So throughout the trading day, that thought will get more and more prominent. And at one point, all you're thinking about is like, I got to leave soon, and like, once you're in that state of mind, stop trading. Like you will not make a good trade. You'll be a little bit red, you'll close it. It'll pop up, you'll chase because you just closed it because you got to leave soon. That's when the really bad stuff starts happening. But if you're just like, okay, mentally, I'm still here. I'm good. The market is slow, so I need to be patient. Boom. Okay, check it off. Keep going. Next time, okay, I'm trending green. The market's still good. All right, check it off. Maybe the next time, I don't know. Maybe I got to go soon. I'm still green. The VIX is up higher. The I don't know. Maybe the large caps or something else is moving more. You know what? This is a good time to walk away because at this point, expected value is looking bad.
It's so crazy to think that like every time we all talk about anything related to trading, I'm like, Jesus, dude, we are like, this is a hard profession. And we really are like professional athletes where you genuinely got to be like on top of everything at all times and you still can fuck up and there's just nothing you can do about it.
Sometimes you get smacked and it's not your fault.
And you have to be totally just, you know what, that's fine. And you don't have to be okay with, even though yesterday you fucking drank your juice smoothie and you're like working out and you're reading your books and you're like going to sleep early with like eye shades on. So you have no light coming in. And it's just like, you have 30,000 things to make sure that you're ready to perform at top level.
Me.
Yeah. You could try all you want
so
to create the perfect environment.
That's exactly like what I do. It's been so funny. I've been so focused on like doing good things, especially this week for some reason, just trying to focus on good habits. Like I've been getting in bed or like lights off at like 9:15, 9:30 this week and putting like sound bath healing Tibetan singing bowl music over my speakers, listening to that for like 15 minutes before I go to bed. I've got my greens powder that I've just been trying out and see if it makes me feel good or different, but that's kind of one of the things that I love most about trading. I'm a former D1 high level athlete swimmer, and I think that I would feel very unfulfilled not having something that pushes me to grow and be better still. The last job that was like a full-time job that I worked was sales, and I was one of basically two people keeping the company afloat, which was really cool and fun, until it became something that I needed to move on from. But like, I really like that, having my income, basically my livelihood, directly correlated to my performance. That's something that's interesting to me.
Yeah, that is really interesting. I was talking to me and my little brother have a podcast, and we were interviewing like a Bellator MMA fighter yesterday, and it was just so fascinating because hearing him talk about it, I was just like, wow, to be in the performance like profession, which is pretty much, you know, what you're talking about, like you really need to have like some kind of weird thing wrong with you. Like like it is odd to think that we choose every day to basically fight like the monster ocean of the market instead of
Yeah.
just being like, yeah, I'll take 75, 100K a year job and I'll just be fine being an employee. Like it literally, when we do those things, and obviously, unless you're doing something where you are providing true value to the company, like you're saying, like when you were doing sales, keeping it afloat, we just don't feel right in that scenario. It's like a fucking intrinsic like problem with our body and brain that if you're doing something that you know that your performance is not respected or it's not related at all to you growing as a person, it's like not, it doesn't feel right. It's not.
Yeah.
And that shit just doesn't go away. It's not going to just randomly one day go away. Like you can't just get a job and have a salary and you have stability. Like for me, because I'm not making money from trading. Like if I found that, I would not just, I'd be happy for maybe like the first paycheck, and then I'd be super depressed again. So
super bored. You're like, great, I am going to make $7 or $8 or $9 or $10,000 a month every month. And it's going to be that way. And it's not going to go up until maybe next year, it'll be $11,000 a month.
Yeah.
But also eggs are now like $12. So, you know,
yeah, it just never, it'll never, it's never going to be enough. Doesn't matter as long as you're an employee. No, dude, I've been working on this cabin. It's going to be so cool. I can't wait to like show you guys once it's all finished. It's
really
cool.
Right.
Yeah, I'm building like my family has like a pond on our property.
Okay.
And it's like kind of secluded, and I'm building like a glamping cabin there. It's like a deck with like a tent on it, and it has like an outdoor shower and like Wi-Fi and
that's cool.
All this cool shit. But I'm gonna try to rent it out this summer to make some money.
Cool.
But
yeah, that's a good idea.
If it works, I was doing some math yesterday. Like I could probably fit like 8 of these around that pond. And if I, obviously that'd be crazy, but if I did someday want to, like if let's say I make whatever 15, 20K from one of them this year, and I reinvest that money into next year and I get a loan so I could do all that, you know, if I had 8 of them, it would in theory be like 160K a year just from running it only in the summer, you know. And
you hire someone to manage it or whatever. And
I mean, I would love to manage it too, because I don't want to be at my desk all day. I'd love having something else to do. Like in the winter, I'll full trading. That's it. There's nothing else to do. I can't go outside, so whatever. But in the summer, like I need to be outside. If I don't have this like the sun on my skin, at least once a day in the summer, I genuinely get sad, like very sad.
Yeah,
it's been so nice here this week. It's been awesome. It's we had, you guys maybe know, we had the rainiest, coldest winter in years here. Like so much rain. We were in atmospheric rivers is what they called it, like 5 times. And so finally last week it started to get up towards like 60, and now it's been into the 70s this week, and it's just been so great.
Yeah, it's such a good feeling.
We can all do a like a trading convention at Colby's.
Dude, no, seriously, we should.
Get their yurt.
That'd be awesome, bro. I would love that.
That would be good fun. Are you still trading tops, Danny? How's that looking?
No, I'm not.
I just checked it out. Yeah. Looks
volume has really died off on it. I am looking at it. When it came down to 15 just a moment ago, a couple minutes ago, there is still like it was like a 20K bid at 15. So I don't know that I think it's probably not done. It might have another leg up today, maybe tomorrow. because it's still up 130% on the day.
Yeah, it depends if
Even-
it holds here.
yeah.
There's a good chance we'll
Yeah.
see it tomorrow.
That topping tail is a little bit aggressive on the daily.
Mm,
But we'll
yeah,
see.
it's not holding its
Mm,
highs.
It'd
What's
be nice. It'd be nice to see it above like 18 or 19 or especially 20. Like a
Yeah,
bit
into
of a
the
topping
close.
tail is fine, but like not half the candle.
Yeah, it's too much. What's
We'll see.
what's everyone thinking about this week going forward or just next week? I mean, there's so much going on with macro. We have earnings and we have like new macro drops every single day.
Yeah.
Wednesday next week, we have the Fed decision. I mean, Colby probably has more insights to this than maybe we do. I'm not sure, but any thoughts going forward here?
I mean, the
Buying
market
this
is
rally?
de-risking. That's pretty much what's been happening this week.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because the market's been I mean, the market is trying to predict the next big thing. That's all the market's trying to do. So for you could see that from March, whatever that is, March 20th or something, we had that nice rally on the SPY. It was like, I don't know, a little over 10% maybe from bottom to top.
Yeah.
How much was it?
Yeah.
It's like 10% rally. So that's good. But the whole reason that happened is because we have earnings coming up. So earnings this week was huge. We already had we have Microsoft, Exxon's tomorrow. We have Verizon, Meta, Boeing, all these big ass companies. So the market was just kind of selling off in preparation for earnings. And now that the earnings are slightly out, we could see a little bit more directional moves. But is the rate hike next week? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot going on. Wednesday, the Fed has they're going to talk what they want to do.
Is that it's the Fed rate hike decision? Is that what it is? Yeah. That'll be interesting. Yeah. The market's probably going to chop around a lot in preparation for that.
Oh yeah. But the SPY looks pretty healthy here. I'm not
It
gonna
does.
lie.
Yeah.
It looks like a classic, extended pullback, and then maybe we'll hit that 427 zone, 426, and have that double top, and then we'll see what happens. I don't know.
I love that. Someone said the other week, it was like, no, we can't ever get a true capitulation when everyone's waiting for it to happen. And I was like, oh man, that's a weird thought, because I was just thinking about like, it seems like there are still like a lot of participants in the market. I mean, obviously not like 2020, 2021, but there's still people trading for sure. And the access to trade is easier than ever. Like a lot of people are doing different kinds of trading. Like you can trade futures with no PDT. You can trade a cash account with no PDT.
Yeah.
You could trade options with no PDT, so it's like the barrier of entry is still so low that I feel like there's still a lot of participants here. And as long as retail is short biased at all, the market will not capitulate. So we need to, it might be years, but like, this might be the first recession ever where the capitulation happens whenever the bull market's ready to start. You know what I mean?
Big sell off.
Like we might just start a bull market, go back to the highs in the SPY of 479. And then whenever retail is like, oh, the recession is already over, there's no way it's going to capitulate. Maybe that's when we see some big sell off or something, but
who knows? Yeah. It's hard to say. I just hope we get a little bit more action like the week before for our trading. Obviously, Colby's like, doesn't really care probably as long as there's a bit of a trend, maybe.
Yeah. Makes no difference to me.
Yeah. But
yeah, for my own, I'm just taking it one day at a time. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. My only goal right now, and something I was thinking about yesterday, is how well patience has been paying off for me lately. Like trade to trade, but especially in the long run. I think once I stopped focusing so heavily on my everyday results is actually when they started becoming a lot better. So I have no expectations tomorrow. I'm very likely completely done trading today. I'm at a solid day. I don't know. And this is kind of what I was saying before. Like, am I going to get another 5 or 10 or 20 cents out of a trade? Does it matter? Probably the best time to make more money is tomorrow on whatever opportunities tomorrow gives us. Like maybe top squeezes through 25 in power hour. I don't know, maybe. I probably won't be here if it does. I'm sitting at my high of day profit and it's a solid day. It didn't start out a solid day. I'm at like 1500 now at like 7 in the morning. So 10 a.m. Eastern, I was sitting at like plus 150 after getting chopped up all morning. So it's been sort of a frustrating emotional day already. No reason to mess that up. And then tomorrow, just going to come in and be as patient as I can and try to make some good trades. And then, do the same thing on Monday. That's pretty much it. Just taking it one day, one trade at a time, being as patient as I can, because that seems to be working for me.
Yeah, I like that. I think we should all do more of that. Be patient.
Yes.
Me too.
Get green smoothies.
Yeah.
Seriously though. Yeah, don't force anything. I think I always get myself in the biggest headaches when I try to force things. And I think this year started off with me forcing many things because I was just trying to juggle a lot. So yeah, just let the good stuff come to you. Obviously work hard towards it, right? But you can't force it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. Is anything anyone wants to share on top, or like anything on someone's mind? Otherwise, we could probably call it.
Follow your dreams.
SMB Capital, if you're listening, hire me.
All right. Colby, keep us posted. Danny, enjoy Negroni.
Yeah.
Have a good trading, everyone.
All
Later,
right.
boys.
I'll see you guys later.
See ya.
Ciao, ciao.